we finished the last video touching on credit scores and histories. We're going to start there and finish out this unit real fast. So, we already looked at this pie chart in the last video, but this is just a breakdown of how your individual credit score is determined. And you want a high credit score. You want something in the 7 or 800s because that shows that you're a trustworthy lender. That's the whole point behind a credit score. It's a number that banks, car dealerships, mortgage companies, they can look at and say, oh, this person has a really high credit score. We can trust them to pay back their loan because that's how they make money, right? They make money off of you borrowing money from an institution and paying interest on it. Well, if you're not making your payment, then they're not making any money. They don't want to trust you with their money. So your credit score is like your trustworthiness rating for financial institutions. Credit cards, you can see this link here. You can check that link out. It's just a real basic breakdown of how do credit cards work. But a credit card is basically like a temporary loan from a bank or a lending institution. And it's one that you can carry around in your pocket. So it's like discretionary money. You get to spend that money on whatever you want. Paying off your credit card every month in full is like receiving an interest-free loan. So if you pay it off in full at the end of every month, you don't owe the bank any additional money for that credit card that you've been using. So if you do not pay off the entire balance, then you will owe the lender interest on that balance. And interest is essentially the cost of borrowing money from someone else. So if you have a 10% interest rate on a credit card, that means for every dollar that you owe them that you don't pay off at the end of each month, you owe them 10 cents on that dollar. So if you run that out to $100, let's say you can't pay off $100 on your credit card and you have 10% interest, you're going to pay an additional $10 on that. So now your new bill is $110. And that's just going to grow and grow and grow the longer you keep it, the longer you stay from paying it off. So you don't want that. You kind of want to be a thorn in a credit card company's side because you don't want to give them any more money than what they already deserve. And you shouldn't be spending money that you can't afford to pay off anyways. Here's some examples of local, or not local businesses, but like national businesses that a lot of us shop at pretty frequently, and they're in-store credit cards. And a lot of people don't look at this stuff because the companies will have the cashier look at you and be like, oh, if you open up this American Eagle credit card today, you're going to save 15% off of your purchase. And that's awesome. Like, we love discounts, right? But look at this APR for American Eagle right up here, right? So what's that APR? 24.24%. Okay. That means for every dollar, you're going to owe them almost 25 cents in money that you owe them if you don't pay off that credit card every month. So, like, if you look at Lowe's, 24.99%. Like, yeah, I have a Lowe's credit card, but I make sure I pay that bad boy off every month if I use it because I don't want to pay 25%. I don't want to pay 25 cents on every dollar for purchases that I make. And this is where people get in trouble. They don't realize that interest rate is going to rack up really fast. And it's not, so say you have $100 on a credit card that you don't pay off. That month, you're going to owe them $125, right, at 25% interest. Well, that next month, they're not going to take the interest on the original $120 you owe. It's going to be on that $125. So you're going to owe more than an additional $25 on that next interest payment. So you've really got to, the point I'm trying to drive home is that you really have to pay off these credit cards every month. You don't want to owe these companies money any more than what you already do, okay? Because that's just stuffing their pockets with your money. Here's some more examples. So the one at the top, Right Pat Credit Union, this was from a couple of years ago, so the numbers might have changed a little bit, but they're pretty steady. So if you have just their platinum low rate credit card, your interest rate is going to go anywhere from 6.5% to 14.5%. Now, that's just to start off. Okay. If you can prove your trustworthiness as a lender, or I'm sorry, as a borrower, not a lender, if you can prove that you're trustworthy, they can lower that down based on their discretion. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't realize. You will never have true 0% interest on a credit card, on a car, on a home, because the Federal Reserve that we talked about earlier, it actually determines interest rates. And so we always get a little bit of interest from the Federal Reserve. There has to be a cost for borrowing money, right? So the bank may say, oh, we can give you 1% interest rate, which is like unheard of, right? For borrowing money. But the Federal Reserve is going to tack on like maybe another 1% onto that. So your interest rate is going to be 2%. That's how that works. Now, you can gain interest. You can actually make money off of interest from savings accounts in banks, but the interest rate is normally much, much lower because they're just using the Federal Reserve interest rate. So you may get 0.25%, right? So for every dollar, you're making like 2 cents. That's where that's coming from. So, but that's completely different thing. That's you lending money to the bank, not you borrowing. So why is your credit score important? So it's important for several reasons. Buying a home or a car, the higher the credit score, the lower the interest rate, makes the loan cheaper. We like that. Employment opportunities. The federal government allows potential employers to look at your credit score to see how reliable you are. Long overdue bills or loans make you look untrustworthy. Somebody hiring you to work in a store doesn't want to have to wonder if the person working for them is going to steal money out of the register to pay their bills. It's as simple as that. Insurance rates. Insurance companies assume a more trustworthy person is also less reckless when behind the wheel. So correlation is not necessarily causation, but normally if you're trustworthy with your money, you're going to be trustworthy with your car. Also, your credit score, like if you want to rent an apartment, a lot of young people that I work with don't necessarily realize that they need a credit score to lease an apartment. And a lot of people are really burning to get out of mom and dad's house or get out of a bad situation. And then they can't move out because they don't have a credit score because maybe they just turned 18 this week. Like that's not enough time to build up a credit score. So just some things to consider. And that is the end of this unit. So